Welcome to Make You Remarkable, brought to you by Oconee State Bank, the podcast that's all about unleashing your inner leader and making an impact on your community. Get ready for a wild ride of inspiration, education, and a whole lot of fun. Each week, we sit down with local legends, business owners, and influential minds to talk about their journey, their impact, and the secrets behind their incredible success. This is not your ordinary bank podcast. We're here to bring the energy, the laughs, and the aha moments that'll leave you itching to conquer the world. Now get ready to make your remarkable with your host, JT Tomlin.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Make You Remarkable, hosted by Oconee State Bank. I'm JT Tomlin, and today I'm joined by Alex Boulogne. Alex is a UJ alumni and founder of Pioneer Digital, a digital marketing agency. Alex helps local service companies drive more revenue via Google Business Marketing. Alex and Pioneer Digital are inviting businesses to join them as a fellow pioneer and blaze a new trail in the digital frontier. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm good, JT. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for coming.
I'm happy to be here. This is awesome.
Well, tell us a little bit more about Pioneer Digital. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so Pioneer Digital is a digital marketing agency that focuses in on helping local service companies scale and grow, but mainly by Google Business Profile marketing. And it started as SEO and paid ads, and we did a little bit of an AI automation, but we could talk a little bit about that more in a second.
Yeah, so how did you get into that field?
It's a great question. So I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur from a really young age. And that was something that I've always had a passion for, but I never knew how to get into it. So I got to college. I'd been in a marketing club in high school, and I knew marketing was going to be something that I was super passionate about. And so as I continued going into college, I ended up freshman year landing an internship with an agency in Atlanta. It was one of the top digital marketing agencies, and that was a complete blessing. I had no idea what I was doing. They took a chance on me. I worked my butt off, and they offered me kind of a contracting job afterwards. So I built paid ads for their clients.
Cool.
And that gave me a ton of opportunity to show skills, learn new things in marketing, learn new skills in marketing. And my first client, which was super funny, they reached out to me because I had posted something on LinkedIn, and they were like, hey, there's friends of mine that had a garage door company that they help fix and build, and they reached out to me and said, Alex, can you help us with Google Ads? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I thought it was just me helping a friend out, and they offered to pay me $40 an hour afterwards concealting.
Dang.
And as a college kid, I remember being like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. And I shut my laptop, and I was like, what did I just get myself into? It was $40 an hour every 2 weeks was like bozo money to me. Like, I had no idea. I was like, that's crazy. Right. Great opportunity. And so they started asking for website stuff and logos and branding, and that was stuff I didn't really know how to do. So I tried it on my own, and then I found people, contractors, friends that knew how to do it better than myself. So I hired them to help me. The next thing I knew, I had a network of contractors and then a few different clients I was working with. And a friend was like, why don't you just turn that into a company? Why don't you don't focus on getting a job after college? You've always said you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Go and do that. And so Pioneer Digital was born.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, what initially got you interested in marketing? Like you were saying that you were interested in it at a young age. Were there like signs that you were going to be an entrepreneur? What got you interested?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever shared that story like publicly before. So it's funny. I am super unathletic. I don't have any coordination to save my life. I like sports. I love sports. But, as a guy growing up through middle school and high school, all my friends were really good. And I was the kid that just, I was the bench warmer. And so I remember walking through high school and just being kind of down on myself, not feeling like I fit in too well. I was still trying to figure out where I fit in my shoes. And the shortstop of the baseball team was like, Alex, are you in DECA? And I was like, what is DECA? He's like, it's where all the popular kids are. It's a cool club and it's marketing. And so he brought me to the marketing teacher's classroom. And she is the sweetest. She's still like a mentor, an angel to me to this day. She's incredible. She's a very successful entrepreneur outside of being a teacher. She's recently retired. And she came in and just said, hey, tell me about yourself. And she was the advisor for the club called DECA, which is a marketing club. It's hard to explain. It stands for Distributive Education Clubs of America. And so it's an opportunity to go and do role plays, build business plans, and pitch them in competition. You can go to different states, and it's a huge club. I was president of our club our senior year, and we had over 500 members, which was really cool. Wow. And so through high school, I found that was my varsity sport, is what I always joked. I had all my friends that were in football and basketball. That wasn't me. I was super involved in the club DECA and scaling that and growing that. And so after I realized that that was maybe a little bit of a talent of mine and something I enjoyed, and it's something I thought I could help apply and help small businesses with, I knew that was something that I wanted to do on my own.
Well, awesome. So you went right out of college into starting Pioneer Digital. What was the process like actually doing that?
Yeah. Oh, man, that's a good question. So a good story. It's probably one of my all-time hard losses, one of the hardest things I ever went through as a business owner, and I'm still new. But right before I graduated college, it was December. I had decided I wasn't going to go get a job. I didn't fill out my resume. I didn't go do any job interviews. I knew I was going all in on Pioneer Digital. And I had a client that I'd been working really hard to close. And I think they were paying me $3,000, maybe $4,000 a month, somewhere in there. And I had a bunch of other little clients that equaled enough for me to go and actually pay myself a decent amount to live off of in the very beginning. I wasn't making 60, 80 grand like all of my friends. And I remember I was with a friend. They gifted me a sensory deprivation tank experience for my birthday. Have you ever heard of that?
No, actually. Is that the floating thing?
It is.
Oh, then maybe I have.
Yeah. So you get into this tank and it's like 3 to 4 inches maybe probably 6 inches of water that's 3 times denser in salt than the Dead Sea.
Oh,
and they turn on all the lights. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything. There's no sense. You can't smell anything. You can't feel anything because the water is the same exact temperature as your skin. And so you float.
That's so weird.
It is. And it takes it pretty much isolates your mind so that the only thing that's working in your body is your thoughts. And right before I got in the tank, I had both of my clients that were paying me the most money and the client that was the most consistent I had for probably 10 months at the time, literally within probably 20 minutes of each other, decided to cancel their contract. And 80% of my revenue was gone. And that was December. 2 weeks before I graduated. And wow. I was like, well, dang, this is not enough to live off of. And so that was something that was a huge scare because I had a couple other projects I was working on, like building websites and branding. But I was scared because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go and pay for my car and pay for my insurance. My parents have been super supportive in the process and have helped a bunch, but I didn't, they helped me through college. I didn't want to ask for anything more and I didn't expect that. And so, I prayed about it, and January 1st, I had more phone calls than I ever had.
Wow.
Which was amazing. And I had people asking for projects, I had people asking for referrals. I got to speak, and I had some public speaking opportunities that opened me up to other client opportunities. And so it was a blessing in disguise because I spent so much time on those 2 clients that were paying me a decent amount of money. But after they left, it gave me time to restructure and focus on things that would make more money with less time in the long run.
So tell me how that experience kind of helped you find your niche to really get those clients.
The experience altogether, that's a good question. So the marketing agency I worked at as an intern before I started any of this was really cool. I walked in and they were a pretty full service agency. So they offered SEO, search engine optimization. For people that don't know what that is, it's just ranking higher on Google. So you get more volume, you get more visitors to your website. And then paid ads, and then branding, social media, building websites, all the full service digital marketing means you do everything and everything under the sun. And in the internship, they gave me a chance on a weekly basis to sit down with the expert in each specific part of the agency. And I could ask any question. They let me shadow them. And so it gave me an insight as to how all the pieces work together in the puzzle to create a complete marketing strategy, and then showed me how they did it, like the secret sauce. And so they work with some really big companies, like their monthly contracts can be 20, 30, upwards of 100 grand.
Wow.
And that's not what I was focused on. I have a passion for small businesses and local entrepreneurs. So I took their strategy and scaled it down on a smaller scale, and some of the skills I had learned by working with these experts in this agency, and just applied what I knew. And that's how I started helping that garage door client. And then I had a client that reached out and they needed help with a scuba diving company that they just started in Florida. And then I had a golf company that was e-commerce. So I've worked with so many different types of companies, but all of the tools that you use in marketing are pretty much the same. You just have to use them differently depending on what the offer for the client is. And so a lot of it rooted back to that agency that took a chance on me when I was a freshman, which I'm super thankful for.
So you're fresh out of college, you start a business without the years of experience or a large network behind you. How did you get these companies to start to trust you and really build this build a network yourself.
Yeah, that's huge. So one of the best things that I made a decision to do in college was join the entrepreneurship program at UGA. The Society of Entrepreneurs is the club, and the club is really cool. They have some really big keynote speakers that have graduated from Georgia come in and speak, and then the exec of the club gets to go out to dinner with them afterwards. And so I saw that as a prime opportunity to go and network. And these entrepreneurs were really impressed with a bunch of young entrepreneurs because most of the time they had, graduated from college, gone out, worked for a while, and then started their company. And they seemed to be impressed that we were a bunch of young entrepreneurs that weren't planning to go get a job and just go right into entrepreneurship.
Right.
And so it was a good opportunity for me to network with some people, and it taught me how to talk to some really high value people, and it taught me how to honestly just to build relationships. And so as I did that, I would ask them, do you have anybody you could connect me with? Do you have anybody that would be helpful to talk to? And these people were super helpful. Some of them actually end up becoming my clients. Some of them are my closest friends today. And so that was a great way to learn how to talk to big people, CEOs, and decision makers. And a lot of trust building when working in business is just relationships. Right. And I always try to figure out if I'm talking with somebody, and this is a great networking tip for those who may not be big networkers, is don't ask from them. Try to figure out what you can give to them. What value can you provide? Because they'll give it back. And you shouldn't go into it looking to get something out of it. Go into a relationship looking to see what you could give, because it always comes back around. And that's just it's an easier way to live in life. So I'm getting all philosophical right now. Your question is how at a young age, without much experience and without much of a network, how did I scale this company? And the way that I did that was just one thing at a time, one relationship at a time. And people took chances on me. There are people that probably shouldn't have and did take a chance on me, which gave me the opportunity to build case studies. And every little win that I had, I tried to talk as much about it as I could, because then I could compound on that and sell another client and then build them a win and then sell another client that was bigger. Until now, we've got a bunch of clients that we work with that we're getting wins for all the time, which is amazing.
Dude, that is awesome. And I know marketing is an ever-changing industry. So how do you stay up to date and stay on top of all of these changing things?
That's one of the greatest questions you could probably ask to a marketer. And I think that's why a lot of young people are good at marketing, because marketing is mostly trend-based. You see a lot of people who've been in the marketing industry for 30, 40, 50 years. And these people are really smart, but they do things a lot of old ways. And not that those things don't work, they do, but they start to go out of style. Even SEO nowadays is starting to go out of style. There's something called GEO, which is generative engine optimization, which is all AI-based instead of search engine-based. And so the reason young people are really good is because they learn all the new trends when they first come in. And so it's very applicable at that time. What I've had to focus on is in marketing, it's not all about focusing on one thing and then just doing it over and over and over again. You have to continue learning. So I've had to build out time in my schedule to just read articles about brand new marketing tactics. I've got a bunch of other marketing agency connections and partners that I hop on calls with very frequently to just discuss what's working and what's not. I've subscribed to newsletters. I've got paid subscriptions to softwares that give me data and information in today's world, in today's marketing world, based off of what's going on, what they're seeing, that they have access to more data than I do. Because if I were to relate everything to just my personal experience, it works for a certain amount of time, but then as the industry evolves, then you're back at square one. So it is all about consistently relearning. You have to be passionate about learning to be in marketing, which you know of as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tell me other lifestyle changes that you've had to make. I mean, you're saying you have to start researching and learning and taking time to really stay on top of the trends.
Yeah.
What are some other changes that you've made to pursue a career in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so it's hard coming out of college because I worked for an agency for 2 summers, and that's a total of 20 weeks. So I had to do a lot of learning myself. And that agency did a really good job of teaching me how to learn and where to find those sources of information. So I committed in college to being a lifelong learner. I don't care how old, how experienced I am. You can always learn something from somebody else. And I've always tried to focus on that. There's people that have other types of experience that I should learn from and should be interested in. And so I talk to a bunch of people. I try to continuously read. I do a lot of reading. The super cheesy saying is leaders are readers. And that's because the more that you can gain wisdom from other people. I mean, to me, there's people that live their whole life to learn one really big lesson, and they go write a book about it. And if I read that book, that I can learn that lesson in however long it takes me to read that book, as long as I apply it. So talking more about lifestyle changes, I think is kind of what you were asking. I've done a lot of things that have helped build discipline. And I like to use the analogy of an angel on your shoulder. You always talk about the good angel and the bad. People talk about the good angel and the bad angel. And the way that discipline works in being an entrepreneur is you have your lazy angel and your disciplined, strong angel on both shoulders. And naturally, humans want to do what's comfortable. So the one that you start by listening to, or I could speak for myself that I always like to listen to, is the one that's like, just hit snooze on the alarm clock. Don't run today. You can take a rest day. Don't get in the cold shower. Take a warm shower. And so I started doing things in my life. Like I haven't taken a cold shower in 2 years. I've tried to drink a gallon of water as long as I could. I think today has been 407 days of running a mile straight.
Oh my gosh.
Which has been life-changing. Later this year, I'm going to be doing a 55-mile ultra marathon in the sand, and I'm no different than anybody else. I didn't used to be able to do all of this stuff, but I've had to teach the little angel or figure on my left shoulder how to get stronger. And it starts by just doing little simple things that build discipline. And over time, that little angel gets stronger and stronger and stronger to where the one that's constantly telling you to be lazy is super weak. And so that strong angel or the strong figure or the strong noise in your conscious that's telling you, go do the extra mile, go do this, get stronger, make sure you do the things, just do them with higher quality and do the hard things, has helped me build a ton of discipline, which ultimately you're required to have that as an entrepreneur because you're working for yourself. There's no boss telling you what to do.
Right. I did not realize I was in the sand. We talked about that earlier. That's crazy.
I don't know what I signed up for, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to complete it. I'm going to figure it out. It's going to be good. But yeah, I'm just trying to do more hard things.
Well, tell me more about like how you learned to learn discipline. I know that's a weird question, but like
great question.
That's one of those things that everyone wants discipline, but it's a hard thing to actually get. So how did you kind of build up to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right before I graduated college and I knew I was going full in on entrepreneurship, was running a mile a day. And a mile is not that far. For a beginner, it's extremely far. And it might take them 15 minutes and a ton of walking. Now I can do it easy in, 7 minutes and without being breathless. And that's a rest day for me, 7 to 8 minutes. And that's because I've done it for 400 days straight. Right. So consistency is key. And the way I learned this is I've got a bunch of friends who are also entrepreneurs, which is a blessing to have so many people that are like-minded. They're all trying to do something. They're trying to create their own destiny. And these people, the more disciplined I see them get, the more successful they become. And so it's kind of a learning as you go thing, right? If I don't wake up early and I wake up and my clients have all emailed me and I'm, and that's because I snoozed on my alarm clock too long, then I have angry clients. I'm behind on the ball that day. I got to get up earlier. Well, if I got to get up earlier, I got to go to bed earlier. And if I'm going to go to bed earlier, I got to be more productive in my day. And if I'm going to be more productive, it's all of these chain linked things where I guess I'm kind of going off on a sidetrack here.
You're good.
Ultimately, I've got a lot of good mentors and a lot of other friends in my life that were super disciplined in the gym or in their spiritual life or in their career. And those are the people who have had the most success. And so I told myself, if I'm going to go into this, you need to commit to keeping a few things really consistent, learn consistency, and then that'll help you build discipline over time. And that's been super helpful.
That's incredible. And I love talking about discipline because it's one of those, like you said, it's the most important thing in how to actually run your business. But as we go more into your business, tell us a bit more about what you do. Obviously, AI is more than just ChatGPT, but what else does it include?
In terms of AI, yeah. So my journey as an entrepreneur went from being a digital marketer to being a digital marketer for a certain specific amount of people. And then that didn't work. And then AI obviously came out of nowhere. It was a huge hot topic. It was a key word. Everyone wanted to know about it. And I told myself, I was like, commit to this for 3 months. Figure out what AI is. Go discover it. Go build tools. Go fail fast at it. Learn as much as you can because it's not going to go away. And there's only more money in investments that's going to make this technology scale. And you hear really smart people that keep talking about how there's so many people that keep talking about how AI is only going to get faster and faster and faster, progressively, exponentially, and it's going to get better and more technologically advanced. And I wanted to be a little ahead of the curve because I felt like that would give me an advantage down the line. So, ChatGPT people use for classic copywriting, for creativity, for solving complex problems. But where I think small business owners, and where I've actually applied this, and this was a business model of mine for a little while, where small businesses can use AI, is automation. Huge opportunity. You can set up chain-linked events controlled by AI to do things that humans do. And there's the classic saying, oh my gosh, AI is going to take over all of our jobs. We're all going to be lazy. And to me, it's almost the opposite. AI has given humans the opportunity to get rid of the miscellaneous tasks off their hands, the tasks that don't really require any effort. They're just mundane tasks. And give that to a computer to go and do process-oriented automations. And then it gives humans the ability to go and do what they're really good at, and do like human skills and building relationships. And so where I recommend, and we can go into this more in a couple of the examples I've helped build tools for my clients. I built a couple AI tools for clients, is automation.
So how do they actually get AI into their business? So like if a small business owner is looking to start using it, what tools can they use now and what tools have to be built for them?
It's a great question. So the way I got started in it is I signed up for a bunch of newsletters. There's a bunch of newsletters. Just go on Google and say AI newsletter update, and then put your email in and read it, right when you wake up in the morning while you're drinking your coffee, or, right before you go to bed at night. What's new in AI? Just become educated at what's possible. You'll find that there's companies that are doing some really crazy things, and you'll find some companies that are doing really simple niche things. And then as you start to learn more and you become educated as to what it could do, look into your business and find places where you feel like, and a lot of business owners have this conviction, where am I spending time that I probably shouldn't be spending time? It's, I think another term for it is thankless tasks. You're spending all of this time doing this thing that doesn't move the needle that much. If you feel a conviction there's probably a computer that can do it for you nowadays. And if that's the case, then you can try to go and do a little bit of research on your own. There's a ton of YouTube videos as to how you can create an AI assistant that will call people and set up appointments. There's databases that chatbots can go and analyze and pull data points that you'd never otherwise understand. I mean, I could go on and on about the use cases, but what I would recommend is find places in your business that either take up a lot of time or a lot of money, or things that you're not able to do. So a good example would be Google reviews. That's something that a lot of local service businesses or just local businesses want to get more of, but it's not something that they really have the time to do. So that's actually a problem we can dive in a second. Is I've been trying to help businesses get more Google reviews through AI. But going back, 3 topics. 1, what are you spending time on that you probably shouldn't be spending time on? 2, what aren't you spending time on that you probably should be spending time on? And 3, where is the biggest need in your business? Bottleneck, where humans are spending human time where they may not need to. And when you figure out those 3 things, Google it, YouTube it, and there's a model out there called an AI automation agency where you can hire them to go and build out specific automations to take care of these processes for you. And that's something that we've done in the past. We do on the side. That's kind of a side gig for us, depending on the client. We've worked with a few people, and it's super helpful.
So what does your business do now? Like, what is the primary, maybe where you're looking to scale? I like that better.
Yeah. So scaling wise, between the digital marketing world, where I was in the very beginning when I started, SEO, websites, any type of Google business marketing, online marketing, and then AI, I realized that one of the biggest problems that a lot of local service companies have is getting Google reviews. And it's such a huge opportunity because Google reviews are one of the top ranking factors for any client of mine, which is a local service company, mostly local service companies.
Right.
And so if you're a plumber or an HVAC or a pool technician or a pest control company, the best way to come up on Google is just to allow your customers to speak for themselves as to how happy and satisfied they are. The best way to do that, 5-star Google reviews. Google's job is to show relevant information to its user. And one of the best ways it can do that is by taking credibility given by other people, which is Google reviews. So I've taken that marketing side of managing Google business profiles and the AI, and we're working on building a product, and it's getting ready to launch, that will bring in Google reviews for these companies. And what we've seen is that an average of 2.22 Google reviews will bring in 1 phone call per month.
Wow.
So we just helped a client get to 1,000 plus 5-star Google reviews, and they're getting 7 calls a day straight from their Google business profile as a plumbing company that they weren't getting before, which is unbelievable. And it's not paid ads, it's not SEO. They own all of the Google reviews, and it'll continue to benefit them for time to come, which is really cool.
That's insane. I didn't realize that they were that effective.
So effective.
It kind of it makes you think about like the Karen jokes of like, I'm going to leave a bad Yelp review.
Exactly.
It makes it like actually more terrifying.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
Like, that is absolutely awful. And this is one thing that I will do occasionally, because I know the power of them. Mm-hmm. If I've worked with a company that does a horrible job, or if I go to a restaurant that has horrible service, I occasionally will go in, and especially if it depends on the success of my company, I'll go in and leave a 1-star Google review, and I'll say, I've been really upset with the way that I've worked with this company. This has not been a good experience. However, I'm willing to change this to a 5-star Google review if the problem is fixed appropriately. I believe as a business owner, you're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. Give everyone an opportunity to fix it. One of the best ways to win in business is by fixing your mistakes really, really well. Right. And so that has worked super well for me. Is if a client messes up, if somebody I'm working with messes up, I'll go leave a 1-star, and if they fix their problem, I'll go give them 5 stars because they deserve it.
Well, I think that's a really cool thing is that, a Google review holds so much power, but being willing to say like, hey, I know that I can take this down. Can we just like fix this?
Yeah.
One
thing I would recommend as a consumer, I've been this person so many times, as a digital marketer, knowing the power of a Google review. I go into a restaurant and I tell the waiter that they did such a great job, and they're like, thank you. Would you mind leaving me your Google review? I'd be like, of course. And then I walk out with my leftovers and I get in my car and drive home, and I don't. And it's not because I lied to them. My intention was to give them a Google review, but I just completely forgot about it. That happens all the time. So much so that I'm literally creating a business model that helps follow up with those people. If you're a consumer and you have told somebody you're going to leave them a Google review, go do it, because it's more than just making them look better on Google. It's not just, they've got 1,000 5-star reviews. Your review as a consumer is so powerful. It helps that company come up higher on Google. It helps that company outrank their competitors. It helps them get more phone calls, website visits. It's more than just making them look good in terms of their average Google review. It does so much. It is such a high ranking factor. And I would even tell people, if you have a really good experience somewhere, one of the greatest things that you can do as a consumer is leaving them a good Google review, because it is so powerful.
I think it's funny. This just kind of came to my mind that the most powerful form of marketing is always word of mouth. Mm-hmm. You have, for majority of like local businesses, just saying they do a good job has so much more value than seeing them on a billboard. Same thing with like Google reviews. It's the digital word of mouth. Yeah. Just having that, like what you're saying, is it's so much more powerful because it can get them up higher in SEO. It can help them really grow their business, but also like from a business perspective, you really have no control over it. You can't take down bad reviews, and this is something I want to talk about too. Yeah. Because Google. We were talking about it a little bit before, like that you're working to really get more connected with Google and understand more about Google, but businesses just don't have control over Google at all. They cannot change those things. So I talked a little bit about that. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you can't change what people say about you, and so when you do leave a bad review, there's a lot of, there's nothing the business can do, and all they can do is kind of try and cover it with more good reviews, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you leave a bad review, it can't be taken down unless there's, of course, some specific reasons, like if you're blackmailing somebody or you're a previous employee and you're mad at the way that something was handled and you quit or you get fired and you go and completely reveal all the secrets. There are some ways that a Google review can be taken down. But if you had an angry customer that was angry for a righteous reason and you messed up, that's going to hurt. And so my comment earlier about leaving a 1-star review, give people the benefit of the doubt. Always be willing to give them a 5-star review if you're going to leave a 1-star review. But just know, if you are angry and you leave a 1-star review, it's going to hurt. So talking more about, as a business owner, from the business owner side, getting reviews, 5-star reviews, is super important. If you do get a 1-star review, it's okay. We're located in Athens. If you look up the best restaurant in Athens, they're not going to have an average 5-star review rating. You're going to have some super hard critics out there that gave 4 stars. You're going to have some angry customers that had to wait outside in the cold before their reservation that gave them a 1 star. The best companies that are out there in the world are not 5-star companies. Actually, I think the average review rating across Google is anywhere between a 4.6 and a 4.7. So do with that what you will, but 1-star reviews really hurt.
So what can a business do now to improve their Google business rating?
That's a great question. Bringing in 5-star reviews is the number one priority. That's got to be the way to do it. And there's a couple ways to do that. One that I've recommended to all of my clients, the ones that have gotten a ton of reviews and that are getting phone calls and growing via their Google business profile, is a lot of them, like I said, are home service companies. So they've got a company that are centered somewhere and they service their customer in a certain radius. So roofing companies, HVAC, plumbing, they're not going to drive out to California from Athens, Georgia to service a client, but they might drive to Monroe or Bogart or Watkinsville or any of those areas. So one of the best things you can do is tell your tech, hey, if you go work with somebody, ask for a 5-star review. And if they leave your name, I'll give you, or ask for a review, and it doesn't have to be 5 stars, but just ask for a review. If they leave a review with your name in it, I'll give you a $5 bonus. And so if you go on 3 jobs today, that's $15. And that accumulates over time. At the end of the month, they might get a $300 bonus. That's a really good opportunity. Another client of mine says, hey, we're going to give a Yeti cooler out at the end of the month to whichever tech has the most names listed in the positive reviews.
Right.
And so they incentivize their techs to go get it. The best way to get a review is in person. So if you're on the job right after a good job and the client's happy, it's a great time to ask for a review. If you forgot, call them. Calling's huge. It's the best way. It's the best way to talk to somebody. You can walk them through it. Leaving a review it literally takes 10 seconds. You don't have to even write anything. Just leaving a 5-star review that's all you have to do. If you can't call them, text them. If you can't text them, email them. Texting and emailing have around a 5 to 7% conversion rate when asking a customer for a review. About 5 to 7% will leave one. Calling is way higher. In person is almost anybody that's happy will leave a review.
Wow.
So those are the best ways to get reviews. But outside of reviews, your Google business profile, this is a huge opportunity that people don't know about. It has to be verified. 65% of Google business profiles are verified. A lot of other ones are not. And so verification looks like if you own a business, you got to go into Google business profile and then ask for a verification, there's a verification process. Google, and it's hard. You have to jump through all these different hurdles, and Google will ask for all these different types of paperwork, but it will be worth it because Google will show you to more people when you're verified.
Oh.
So, and then another thing, add as many images to your profile as you can. I always recommend having over 100 plus images that represent your company, which takes a while, but that helps you look highly rated. Add your social medias on there. Make sure that all of your hours are updated. I can't tell you how many times people forget to update their hours on Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and it looks like something's like a restaurant's open, but it's not. It's closed. That gives you a bad reputation. Make sure your phone number and your address are updated. So many different things. Make sure you have FAQs on your Google business profile. People think that just getting reviews is all that you need to do, but utilizing the whole profile, best opportunity that you could ever, that's the best thing you can do.
When we were talking about earlier, like with a lot of people that are blue collar, people just don't go to their websites. They are literally looking up, like they've got a faucet leaking. They're like, oh my gosh, I need a handyman. And they find the first person, they call them. That's why, I'm assuming that's why it's so important, because you want to be that first person. You want to be the one that's getting that call in that emergency. Or if it's like for a photographer, they're going to maybe look through 3 or 4, but it's the first thing they see before they go to their website. Your website could be beautiful, but you could be so far down in the listings that no one ever sees you.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
I think there's so many stats out there, but the most recent one is 85% of people read reviews before they make a decision to purchase.
Wow.
Which is a lot. And so I always tell companies, if you're a local service company or a restaurant and you don't have any Google reviews, don't ever expect to get any traffic to your website or foot traffic to your store via Google, because you have customers that are, or other competitors in your area that are going to outrank you. Point blank simple. You
It's
got to
just
go
how it
get
is.
reviews. So if you want, it doesn't matter how much you spend on your website. If you're a local service company, you can spend millions of dollars on your website. It could look beautiful, but if it's never seen, that website doesn't matter.
As we kind of continue on, like I love what you've been saying about Google Business and how it impacts companies. I mean, one thing I was thinking about is I think I've literally had someone straight up tell me like, hey, will you leave me a Google Business page? It really helps my business. I left them a review. Like, I think that's one of those things. Honesty is the answer. Like, if you tell someone, hey, like, this does help me, all of a sudden, if they gave you a good service and you really enjoyed it, you're going to want to help them.
Well, to gamify it a little bit, which I always think is fun. Waze used to do this. Are you a Waze guy?
Oh, yeah.
I love Waze. When you report that there's something on the side of the road or after a long road trip, it would tell you helped 700 Wazers. And I always felt so good about myself. Right. That was so cool. And the same thing with Google. If you have your profile set the right way and you leave a 5-star review with images of your food at a restaurant or pictures of the new shower head that you got installed and you write a really nice review for the business that you worked with.
Yeah.
It will actually tell you have helped this business by this many impressions. Your review has allowed this business to be seen 2,000 more times in the last 3 months. So that's another really cool reason. Like, go fill out 5-star reviews, and if your settings are set right, you'll get an email a month later that says you've helped this business be shown to 2,000 more people. That's crazy. Pretty cool. I like that impact. I think it's pretty cool.
Well, and I think too, like, going back to the community side of it, like, it really helps the community build each other up. Like, you can actually make a tangible difference in that business's success. And I think that's why it's so important to really consider when you do leave a bad review. It's like, how mad are you really? Like, are you really so mad that you're going to try and impede on their success? Or is it like, I just want to go talk to someone about it.
Understand that people mess up. If you go to a restaurant and they bring your food out and it's cold, yeah, you could leave them a 1-star review, but give them the chance to go fix it. If they bring your food back warm, then maybe don't leave them a review because it will hurt them. You know, people are going to mess up. Businesses mess up. We're not perfect. I understand that there are some businesses, you know, if there's a business that continuously brings out undercooked chicken, they should have a low rating. So go give them a 1-star review. It's important. You're helping other people. But that's the way I look at it, right? That's Google's goal as well. They want to show businesses that are worth being shown. And they don't want to show businesses that aren't worth being shown. And so if there is a business that you really enjoyed working with or eating at or having some sort of relationship with, go help them out by leaving them a review. And if there's one that was absolutely awful that you worked with, especially multiple times, then it might be good to leave them a not so good review. Maybe give them a chance to fix it beforehand. But yeah, I mean, that's what Google is there for.
Right. So we talked about how you're using AI for Google Business and for all of these, like, building automations for these companies. What do you think the future of AI is going to look like?
Man, that is a scary question. There's so many different perspectives and topics. But Sam Altman, who's the CEO and founder of OpenAI, which is the parent company to ChatGPT, says that within 2025, AGI will be released. And AGI is pretty much the all-knowing AI. Meaning that it can teach itself, it's evolving, and it's what some people call sentient. And that, we don't really know what that's going to look like. The scary part is these supercomputers that power AI chips are really powerful, but they require a lot of energy. So you see companies like NVIDIA, one of the most profitable, biggest companies that's grown in the last 30 years. They are building these really cool supercomputer chips and these big warehouses full of them, but where's the energy coming from that? So the US, if we're going to invest in AI and in AI technology, we need to have a crazy infrastructure of energy and bringing in energy because it takes a lot to power these really fast supercomputers. 2, if AGI is something that will be what they say it's going to be, it is a little scary. It is a little scary because you have to hope that it's in the hands of the right person. I've heard many times that, like, right now, money is, if you have a lot of money, you have a lot of power. And if you have a lot of power, then you can get out of a lot of weird things. And AGI is one of those resources that may almost become more valuable than money because you can go to it and say, hey, how do I make $1 million based off of what you've seen in the stock market in the past year?
Oh, wow.
What do you think? And if it's smart enough and it has enough data, it has more data points than any human does, and it can make decisions decisions based off of past decisions that have been made, and it learns on that, and you have access to that power, you're going to be able to scale faster than anybody else. And so access to compute's the word, it's just a fancy word for saying access to the power of AI and the fast supercomputers. It's a big resource. And so that's one thing that I think it's important to talk about. You should be a little scared, but you should also be really excited because it can do some really cool things. We can go to AI and say, hey, look, here's all of the data that we've done in terms of researching cancer. Where should we spend the X billion of dollars that we're getting this year to go and like which one has the most promising way to cure it?
Right.
So there's so many good things that come from that as well. It's gonna be very interesting. Sam Altman says that will be out next year, 2025.
Wow.
Within 2025.
I feel like it'll be a very interesting time because you're gonna have the kinks being worked out of like, okay, we had a lot of these people using it in these really crazy ways that they shouldn't have been using it. How can we limit that? Okay, was using these really incredible ways. How can we really glorify that and continue to use it that way?
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see. Long story short, it'll be really cool to live through that. It can be scary, but it's going to be really fascinating.
Right. And people have said the same thing about the iPhone. People are like, well, what if you had all the knowledge? The AI is going to bring all the knowledge you've ever needed right to you immediately. Well, that's kind of what our phones do, and that's what our watches do. It's not maybe input it in our head, and it's not as fast as ChatGPT or another language model, but we can figure out just about anything within 5 seconds by pulling our phone out and looking it up. This is just making things faster, a lot more powerful, and AI is able to make decisions and projections that are a lot more powerful than what your search engine on your phone could do.
Infer what you mean from what you're asking, as opposed to you not using the right prompt or not using the right keywords to find exactly what you want. It can take what you've given it and kind of understand what you mean by what you're saying.
Right.
Which is funny. I told someone the other day that like when we were all kids or even like 20 years ago, we were like, I wish my phone would just know what I was saying. And now it kind of does.
Now it does. It's crazy. Yeah. And so, we've talked a lot about ChatGPT and language models, but they have agents out there too. And agents are super cool. So that's an agent, an AI agent is specifically something that you give it a prompt and it can do multiple tasks.
Oh.
So instead of saying, hey, ChatGPT, what is the answer to this? You could say, hey, can you go complete this? Can you onboard my client for me?
Wow.
And what an agent could go and do is it would fill out an onboarding document and create all of the folders that you needed it to, send out the emails. It'll email your bookkeeper and ask it, or not even email, it'll set up all of your invoicing. Something that you give it one task and then it can go and do multiple. Those are already being built. Those are already real. We've built those for some of our clients already.
Gotcha.
And so that, that's real already. But where this AGI is going to get really powerful is when it can start it can process data and make decisions based off of its learnings already. It's compounding. It's going to be exponential. It's going to be really powerful.
I mean, that's incredible. And it's cool that you understand all that. All the time that you've done studying and learning it kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier, and really understanding to be an entrepreneur and to really grow, you need to take time and you need to have the discipline and actually make yourself more knowledgeable in the field that you're studying, because to be helpful to your clients, you got to know what's going on.
And I would tell it to all of the listeners of this podcast. You should be a little scared of it because we don't know what's going to come from it. But the best thing that you can do for yourself to save your job, to save your business, to save whatever, is start learning about it. Because when it does come around and we're all able to use it and access it, you can be more valuable by using it. AI won't replace humans. Humans that use AI will replace humans that don't.
Right.
That's the way that it'll go.
Well, it's the same thing with people with computers, like you brought up earlier. The people that spent time learning how to use a computer, learning to use Google, learning to use the tools like a computer could provide, became more desired than the people who didn't, because they were more
powerful, more efficient.
Exactly. It really is. It's kind of like the digital revolution just over again.
It is
a little different.
And it's definitely more powerful this time, and it's going to do things that we've never seen before. But again, you can either be scared about it and push it off and deny it and not use it, but then when it comes around, you're left in the dust. Go learn about it. If you're scared of it, go learn about it. Go listen to more podcasts about it. Sign up for the email newsletters, and then try to learn how to use it. I would recommend learning how to use it, because then you become that person at your work that's 10 times more productive. You're seen as an implementer. Go and consume content and then apply what you learned from that content about AI, because it will help you as a leader, as an employee, as a business owner. it saves you a bunch of time. And so what I've told people is, and as much as it is scary and it's going to do some crazy things, if you learn how to adopt it and use it appropriately now, it's going to help you out.
Right.
You're going to be ahead of the game. It's so new. It's so widely accessible, and that being widely accessible is very new. If you learn how to do that now, you're going to be way ahead of the curve.
Well, as we kind of wrap up, we have 3 questions that we ask everyone, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. So first off, obviously our podcast is called Make You Remarkable. So what does that phrase mean to you?
Make you remarkable. That's so good. It's a great phrase because everyone has I believe everyone's got some specific gift that God has given them. We've all got our individual talents. We're all very blessed in different ways. And the way that I make my remarkable is going to be different than you make your remarkable and everyone else that's been on this podcast. And it's funny because we haven't talked about this yet, but the name of my agency is Pioneer Digital. The digital is just because we do a lot of stuff in the digital space. The AI, Google Business Profile, it's all online. You can receive it all on your laptop. But Pioneer is a little bit more complex. We've defined Pioneer as one that paves the way for others to follow. As marketers, that's my job. When I work with a client, my job is to help pave their way for their customers to follow. And so when making you remarkable, I see it as similar as being a pioneer. How are you paving your own way for others to follow? How are you using your specific gifts and talents and abilities and skills to provide this world, to make this world a better place?
Yeah.
What have you been gifted that no one else has been? Take advantage of that. You don't have to go and solve the cure to cancer. It doesn't have to be super in depth. It could be something in your small community. It could be something within your family. But I believe that everybody has some unique individual ability to go and do something that no one else is able to do. And that's kind of a responsibility. So to make you remarkable is your job is to go out and be that pioneer.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. How have you made you remarkable, and how do you hope to leave a mark on the people that you impact?
No, that's such a good question. And I always say that I'm normally the richest guy in the room, not because of the money, but because I'm normally one of the youngest guys in the room. And I love that because I've got so much time left to go figure that out.
Right.
To be honest with you, I don't even really know the full answer to that. That's something that I'm faithful. I'm relying on what God has planned for me. But right now, it's unfortunate. A lot of the clients that I've worked with in the marketing space, they've been done really bad by other digital marketing agencies. It's easy to take advantage of small businesses because small businesses know they need marketing, but there's a reason they're paying us to do it and not themselves because they don't know how to do it.
Right.
So almost every client that I've ever worked with has worked with another agency in the past who has been paid a lot of money and done absolutely nothing. I can't tell you how often I've heard they started strong but then fell off. That's not how we do business. If we're getting paid money, we're going to be doing work that is worth the money that is being paid. And so my goal is to, at least in this current moment, to change the way that business is done in the marketing world. And that's just by keeping to our word, providing as much value as freaking possible. That's the most important thing because there's so many people out there that don't do it. It's easy to just say, hey, we're doing this and not do it. I've got a lot of clients and they're the best clients that don't ask questions about what I do because they know that I'm doing a good job. They know that as long as I'm doing my job, they don't have to worry about it. And so when it comes back to how I'm trying to make my mark on this world, I want to make sure that business is being done right in the business world. It's not being done dirty. Business can be a very dark place. And so, like I told you earlier, I'm pretty faithful. There's a verse in the Bible, Matthew 5:16, that says, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And that is the founding verse of the company, because I believe that our job is just to go and do the right thing. The Chick-fil-A model is a good example of that. They do something as simple as serving chicken, but they do it really well. And the interaction with everybody there is absolutely incredible. And so that's my goal. That's how I'm going to make this mark. That's how I'm going to make a mark on this world, whether it be marketing or any other business that I start in the future.
I love it. And last one, and you kind of already answered this, but I said 3. So last one, how do you and your team create remarkable experiences?
Experiences. That's so good. I don't want to be quick to answer that because I think that's in marketing, experiences and storytelling are 2 of the biggest things. When I think of pioneers of their industry, I think of the Savannah Bananas. Do you know who they are?
Yeah.
They're they're kind of college baseball team that have turned into this worldwide tour. They're filling up stadiums with hundreds of thousands of seats. They broke the rules of baseball to do something different. They're breaking the rules. Top Golf. That's not your normal golf range. It's taking golf to another level, gamifying it, bringing good food, and allowing people to gather. They're a pioneer of their industry. Buc-ee's. They're not your normal gas station. Everyone's wearing shirts. There's people that dress up as Bucky for Halloween.
Yeah.
And for people outside the Southeast, look Bucky's up. It's
It's
the
incredible.
craziest model. I've been to it. I've been to so many, and they're awesome. So my goal is that the clients that we work with, whether they be plumbing companies, HVAC companies, help making them a pioneer of their industry. And that could be through marketing, or that could be through just saying, hey, I've seen you get a bunch of negative reviews lately about the way that your tech is talking to their clients. How can we become a little bit better so that way you're just a little bit more above average in your local area? And one of the last things I'll leave you with is Nick Huber, who's a local entrepreneur here in Athens, has a saying that I absolutely love, is doing common things uncommonly well. And so, sure, I work with plumbers, HVAC companies, pest control, pool boys, garage door mechanics. They're not the cool, really fun golf ranges in baseball and Buc-ee's. It's kind of a boring business model, but it's a need. So it may not be doing things as attractive, as sexy as those other companies, but the little things, making them a pioneer in their industry, the way they respond to Google reviews, the way that they interact with their customer, the way that their marketing looks just a little bit different than anyone else. It's a common business model, but we're trying to do it uncommonly well.
Fantastic. So as we're wrapping up, we have like a lightning round that we do that's super fun, super fast questions, super short. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Perfect. Share a personal or professional best.
Ooh, that's good. Professional best. I'm going to go back to my first win. I was working with a garage door client, and they were a small business, really small. And our first Google ad conversion was literally the first impression. And it was Best Buy in Atlanta. And that one job ended up helping that client go and close all of the commercial Best Buys as a commercial deal. So anytime any Best Buy in the Atlanta area had to go, or any Best Buy needed something related to their garage doors, my client was their go-to person. And that was the first conversion I ever had with a Google ad that I ran by myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There's so many good ones, but that's one of my favorites.
What is the most impactful piece of advice that you've ever been given?
That's a good one. And this is one I would give to anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur. And it was given to me by one of my current mentors. He came in, spoke at UGA when I was learning how to scale a business. And he said, no one knows what the heck they're doing. So go figure it out. And that was one of those things where I was like, okay, I don't have to be a marketing expert to start a marketing agency. I need to know a little bit, and I need to be committed to learning. But as long as I can learn more and continue keeping up with it, I'm going to say yes. And then no, I still am. I'm so confident that I will figure it out. I'm not going to go fail my client. And so if no one knows what the heck they're doing. We're all trying to figure it out. If you're trying to start a business, just go do it. Go figure it out. It's all the information's out there. Go talk to people, go watch a YouTube video, listen to a podcast, go fail, go fall on your face and get back up again.
It's helpful. Yeah, I love it. And you've also proven that you're going to figure it out. Like you've learned all.
Sure, yes, exactly.
What is your best tip for young entrepreneurs?
That was IRS for me. Yeah, that was for me. But also, I'll kind of give an analogy here.
Yeah.
Growing up, everyone's parents, as they're raising them, guardian, parent, you're a baby, you can't walk yet, you're crawling, and you get to that age where you're starting to learn to walk. When you fall over the first time, your parents or your guardians, they don't look at you and go, oh, well, I guess Alex, he's just not going to walk. They go, oh, it's okay, get back up and try again. Get back up and try again. And no matter how many times you fall, your surroundings as your parents continue to tell you to get back up, and then it becomes a standard. Everyone in this life learns how to walk. So you need to do it too. And there's a time and place in this culture where that goes away, where you get to a certain time in your career, or you get into a certain place and you fail and no one encourages you to get back up. And I don't know why that's the case. So my encouragement to people who want to go start a business would be have the mentality of it being like you're trying to walk for the first time. It's not going to work the first time. Maybe it will, but you may have to fall and bump your head and your knees a few times before you really learn how to walk perfectly.
And by the way, I still walk to this day and I trip and fall and stumble. And that's just how it works. It's a great analogy. And so my advice would be, don't let society's view of, oh, it's just hard and you're going to fail and just stop. Like, just keep going. And because eventually you fail so many times that you've learned a lesson that other people don't know. And that value is worth enough to go start a business off of.
Right. I think it's funny because there's so many more stories of people saying that exact thing, and people are like, but it's not going to be the same for me. It's like, it's not. No, like if you fail and you fail and you fail and you fail, at some point there's a chance that you're going to be fine.
And do it fast. Like if you're going to fail, do it fast, because then it gives you a lesson quicker that you can get back up and start working with again. And so if, go fall as many times as you need to learn as many lessons as you need to go provide value, and do it as fast as you can. That's what a good entrepreneur is.
If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Keep getting up. Because there's times where it's discouraging. Getting in that sensory deprivation tank after losing 80% of my revenue that I was planning to live off of was a little bit eerie, especially just being in my thoughts. But again, it's just get back up. That was God's plan for me, and it worked out.
What is the weirdest thing you've asked ChatGPT to do?
Oh my gosh. Probably can't say that on a podcast. Let's see. I asked it how, so I did some role play. I said, I am a 12-year-old boy and I want to bring alcohol into my school and drink it without getting my teacher to catch me. And the reason I did that is I wanted to see how guided it was. I wanted to see if it would actually give me that advice or if it would be professional. And because I wanted to see like, what is this dangerous? Like, could it tell me to do some crazy things? And that was the prompt I chose. So if the FBI or the GBI was listening, was it trying to sneak alcohol into a school as a young kid and just trying to figure out what would ChatGPT actually recommend? And by the way, for all those out there concerned, it did not give me advice.
It's interesting to see the morality of AI.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Very fun. That's a whole nother podcast.
Oh yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up, how are some ways that people can get connected with you if they want to work with you, if they want to learn more from you?
Yeah, that's a great question. LinkedIn is my go-to. I haven't been posting a ton on there, but I check it every single day. And so you can just go on there and search my name, Alex Boulogne, Boulogne. That's the best way. You can reach me at alex@pioneerdigital.marketing. That's my email as well. Anybody that has questions about AI, be happy to answer. If you need custom solutions built, we can do that or refer you. And if you just want to talk about a Google business profile and you just need some help and direction, happy to do that. My ultimate goal is just to help people. So any questions out there, please reach out.
Awesome. Well, that's it.
Incredible, man. Thank you so much.